Hello, I'm going to apologize for the background noise. You're going to hear that all winter. I have an old house. We don't use central heating. That's my stove in there, and it's got this big blower on it. Makes some noise. Is what it is. Okay. So, I'm going to read to you guys today out of this very ugly proof copy of my next novel, Enduringly Yours, or I'm going to fix it. So I'm going to read the back to you guys. Not finished. Just a rough draft. Okay. England, 1192. A lady's value was in her virtue. Kingdoms throughout history were won or lost upon it. Men died defending it. Men died for taking it. Zipporah wished someone had warned her before she'd given herself to Sir Peter of Ravendale. With her father dying and the powerful Sir Gilbern holding a claim on her family's land through Prince John, Lady Zipporah's fate hangs in the balance. Sir Peter, the man she lost herself to 3 years ago, is the last person she should be depending on, but he's also her last hope. If Sir Gilbern should ever find out about their illicit past, it could cost Zipporah and her mother everything. So I'm going to do my version of Russian roulettes and see if I can embarrass myself. I'm going to choose a random passage out of this to read to you guys. It could be just like a little bit of conversation, no big deal. It could be something totally embarrassing. It could be something I have to censor as I read it to you guys. But I'm going to do it anyway and see what happens. Okay? Okay, so I'm going to close my eyes and I'm going to flip it around a bit so I don't know what's the top and what's the bottom. And randomly, okay, what do we got? Ready? What has you so distressed, my lady? It was Peter. She looked up, need rushing through her. Did it ever end? The lust. Sounds like my reading, right? Yeah. She couldn't see him. Where are you? She whispered. Oh, that was great. Where are you? She whispered. He slipped out from behind a gnarled apple tree, gesturing for her to follow. She checked both ways and saw no one on the garden path, then went after him. He caught her hand and led her deeper, until they stopped at a garden wall. They were sheltered by mazy branches. What did Gilbert say? He asked. Were you watching me? I told you I would. His smile disarmed her. Her thoughts went immediately to last night, to touching each other in the dark. She wanted to touch him still in the light where she could watch as he yielded himself to her. What can I say on Instagram? Does anyone know? If you do know, let me know, so I know where I need to censor. It took her a moment to find her voice. He's taken note of how you fight now. I'd expected that. What else? He was being a little too serious. How was he doing that? She knew well enough he had to want her by now. Peter? I know. He reached out to her, tugging her closer by the end of her sleeve. But I have to keep you safe. Last night? Goodness, what was she supposed to say? Maybe they were better at touching each other than talking. Do you want me? He said quietly. Because I want you. She nodded. Yes. Yes, I do. He kissed her temple. I'd half feared you changed your mind. I can't seem to stay away from you. The pain. He wrapped his arms around her, pulling her against his chest. She was glad for the lack of armor and surcoat. She tucked her arms around his waist, her cheek pressed against his shoulder. So glad you don't have mail on today. He laughed quietly. Me too. Why are we like this together? She asked. I don't know, love. Is it normal? Is it like this for other people? I think there'd be less war if it was. She smiled about that. Why do you think that? everyone would be too busy making love to bother killing each other. Zipporah wished that she could have him fully, but the consequences for her were too great. I wish I could have you, she whispered. You can have me. No, I mean, I wish I could afford the consequences like you can. She felt him shake his head at that. What difference does it make? Had he heard nothing she told him yesterday in the tent? Or maybe he'd forgotten in the light of desire. Men are expected to have women. I'm not supposed to have even you. It took him a moment. Do you think I'm using you? He sounded hurt by that. Instead of letting her go, he held on tighter though. He wasn't no she that much. Their mutual lust was more than the fiercest hearts could withstand. I don't think you are, Peter. It's just that the consequences for me are greater than they are for you. No, I'd die for you. He backed off, but only enough to look at her. I'd die just to have you one more time. You said something like that before. They may not have been good for each other, but yes, the drive was that strong. Peter? She twisted her fingers into his tunic sleeves. We can't let it go as far as we did before. There's one thing you don't have to contend with. She bit at her lip, hoping she wasn't saying too much, hoping also to hedge into the courage. Oh, spoiler alert, sorry. She looked up at him, defined. He was waiting for her to finish. She let out a frustrated breath. You'll never carry a child? He brought her back into his chest. You're worried people might count the moons and talk too much? She decided that it wasn't a good time to remind him that she never actually agreed to marry him either way. It would only cause more friction between them. Was there any way to be with him and not have to talk to him? Couldn't they just make love forever and forget about the hard parts? I'm gonna leave it off there. And another 7-minute video. Well, at least it wasn't 12 minutes long. I'm getting better. Alright, so that's what I have for you guys today. And yes, this is the next book coming out. Probably like April, May-ish. Depends on how long it takes me to get my ish together. And this is a sample cover. This is one of my drawings, but as you can see, I need to make it bigger and more vibrant, and I need to change this to white instead of cream because otherwise it just gets kind of lost in the background. And I need to finish writing the back cover. Okay, so that's what we have, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye. Can you believe it? Give it to me, guys.